بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي يسر ولا تؤسر وتممه لنا بالخير يا فتاه يا فتاه يا فتاح. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أصحابي كالنجوم بأيهم اقتديتم اهتديتم أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Indeed, my dear respected brothers, elders, sisters and mothers in Islam, we thank each and every one of you to be here at this moment, and we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above and beyond everything for giving us this opportunity and this chance that we can have gathered here tonight, alhamdulillah, in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we know that this being the week that we usually speak about the life of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'een, as being the role models of our life, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself mentions in the Quran, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an, that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Everybody come close, please. Come close. There's a lot of brothers standing outside. Inshallah, the more coming. Jazakallah khair. Brothers here, everybody, takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Say a little louder. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah.
Jazakallah khair Abdul Hamid Bhai for that. So, alhamdulillah, as we were saying that in the beginning, that alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed upon each and every one of us that who has invited us to His house and given us this opportunity to spend some moments, inshaAllah, in the masjid and to see ourselves and to see the examples that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in our lives. And of course, as we know that we utilize this third week of every month to speak about Sahaba, the true role models of our life. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes gives us chances, an opportunity to learn from each other's life. And that's why we have kept the theme of tonight's program, the modern day role models. Individuals at our times, at our own places, in the facilities that we have, we can see how these individuals utilize their capabilities and all the opportunities that they had to connect them with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before we continue on to our program, inshallah, I would request, inshallah, Brother Faizan to come and recite a few verses of the Quran, and then we'll continue the program from there, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khairan, Brother Faizan, for the beautiful recitation of Quran. Alhamdulillah, these are the youngsters of our community. They are full-time college students pursuing their education, and along with that, they are memorizing in the Quran itself. So indeed, it is a great effort upon them, their teachers, and their parents as well to work so hard, inshallah, and alhamdulillah, to achieve such a great title and to memorize the Quran and to learn the Quran itself. Inshallah, before we get to our further step of our programs, inshallah, I know you guys are anxiously waiting for the brothers to speak, inshallah. Few important quick notes, inshallah. This is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the masjid. We make sure that we keep and we fulfill the right and the etiquettes of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Indeed, the masajid are the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and many gatherings used to happen at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in always fulfilled the etiquettes of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we will fulfill the etiquettes of the house of Allah, then indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow the true nur of the house of Allah. It is mentioned in the book of Sahih al-Bukhari. Imam al-Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi brings a special chapter known as Babu Qawlu Shi'r fil Masjid, the chapter of saying poetry and ash'ar in the masjid. And he mentions one hadith. One day, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, at the time of his khilafah, walks inside the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he sees Hassan bin Sabit radiallahu anhu, the individual who used to say ash'ar and couplets in the praise of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Hassan bin Sabit radiallahu anhu was saying this ash'ar and these words in the masjid. So Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu came close to him and he said, Hassan, why are you saying this in the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So, and it was Umar bin Khattab saying this. So Hassan bin Sabit radiallahu anhu looked at Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu and said, Ya Amirul Mu'mineen, O the chief of the Muslims, O the commander of the believers, indeed I have heard a statement which allows me to do this from a person who is better than you, meaning Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At this moment, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu did not say anything. He just looked at Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, who was sitting next to him. As soon as he saw Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, only thing he did is he shook his head and he says, Sadaqah. He says, indeed, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that. So indeed, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in had many activities in the masjid, but they made sure that they fulfilled the haqq and the right of the masjid, which is also upon us. And also, inshallah, getting further to this program, alhamdulillah, on behalf of Masjid Hamza and its entire community, Brother Sarfraz, Uncle Zahir Sahib, who's present here, Brother Abdul Kareem, and all the brothers who worked so hard, and our organization, Children of Adam, which has been doing many programs for you brothers and sisters in our community. Alhamdulillah, we are truly thankful for Brother Hamza and Husain to take out their time and come and join us, inshallah, and enlighten us and share their part of the story with us as well. And inshallah, we also hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we will continue these programs even further, and we will have much more and many more things coming in future as well. We also request the brothers and the sisters and also the youngsters here, before you leave, make sure you sign in your names and your email. On behalf of Children of Adam and Al-Iman group, which is a Hajj group, we are giving 3 tickets for Umrah in spring break. For anyone who is above 17 years of age, you can go alone. Sisters, they need a mahram. Anyone who is less than 17, they can also accompany with their parents as well. According to the help and the support that you have done to your communities, inshallah, we will only choose 3 individuals, inshallah, every year, so they can go for Umrah, inshallah. So make sure before you leave, you sign your name with Brother, inshallah, Hamza. He's here somewhere. So right there, Hamza is right there in the back. So make sure that you meet him and you sign in your names with him, inshallah, so you can also benefit from that, inshallah. Now we begin the true, inshallah, essence of our program. Inshallah, we begin with Brother Hussein starting off for us, inshallah, for a few minutes. And then, inshallah, Brother Hamza will also speak to us. Then we will also have a Q&A session for everyone. And the Q&A session, inshallah, which one will begin, will also explain the details of that program as well, inshallah. So now we humbly request Brother Hussein to, inshallah, enlighten us with the words of wisdom, inshallah. Takbir.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I would like to start by saying we're gonna talk, but there's so many people here that we love to do interaction-based talks to where we know what you really want to hear. So we're gonna focus a lot on the Q&A because I know you guys have a lot of questions to ask us. But it's definitely a blessing to be here. Thank you guys for bringing us out, for everybody who put things together. As you know, we played in the NFL, and this year we went for Hajj. And 2012 is, it's a year that it wasn't planned. It was just something, or it wasn't planned by us. It's something that Allah had planned, and we didn't know what was going to happen. In the decisions we were making, we're just, we're going to do this for the sake of Allah. We're going to do this for the sake of Allah. And for the first time, I never left the country. And when I fell on rough times, I said, you know what? I need to go for Umrah. So in March of 2012, we went for Umrah. And when we came back, he's like, everybody's like, now you got to go for Hajj. That's just like an appetizer. You got to go for Hajj. So, it became between, kind of signing a contract with the NFL or signing your contract with Allah. So, you know which one we chose. This is the eternal contract. So we took that trip to Hajj, and you just learn so much. I mean, even when we reflect on certain Hajj stories and different things that happen, just talking about them reveals a new lesson that we didn't even think about the time before. And our intentions is what took us out there to do something for the sake of Allah. And just really wanting to better ourselves. And one thing we wanted to do was spread the salams. That's what we're supposed to do. Spread the salams to those who we know and to those we don't know. That's one of the most exciting things about Hajj. There's people from all over the world. So at one salah, you're praying next to a brother from Malaysia and somebody from Pakistan, then somebody from Australia and somebody from the UK. There was one instance in particular where I believe we all sat down, or somehow it was Hamza like this, myself, there was another brother, and then there was my older brother, Abbas. And as soon as we sat down, I said, Assalamu alaikum. He shook my hand. He said, where are you from? He said, Afghanistan. I said, really? He said, I'm from America. And as soon as I said that, the grip on his hand tightened a little bit. It tightened a little bit for obvious reasons. It tightened. And then I was like, yeah, we're from America. I said, but we're Muslim. And then something Abbas said, Assalamu alaikum. And then before he shook his hand, he said, where are you from? So Abbas said, Amriki, I'm America. And he looked at him, and you could tell like he has, they have so much built up. And he didn't want to shake his hand. And Abbas said, he said, Afghanistan, America, Sudan, UK, it doesn't matter. He pointed to his skin color. Black, white, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. He said, we're brothers. We say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Okay. Order in the court. Okay, somebody has to warn me. Jazakallah khair. I actually lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, we get back. Abbas said, we're brothers. As soon as you say that shahada, we're brothers. It doesn't matter from what country you're from. It doesn't matter what the flag color says. It doesn't matter. We're Muslims. And as soon as we see one another, we should be brothers. And that happens by spreading the salams to those who you know and to those who you don't know. And it took a while. But in the end, he shook his hand. And that's Islam. To where there's tons of stuff going on. Some stuff that's out of our control. Some things we can do more things about. But when we see one another, I don't know what you're going through. You don't know what I'm going through. It may look good on the outside. We're all rough and tough, right? We try to hold everything in, but really we're all hurting on the inside with something. Everybody's struggling with something. And just giving that person salams might make his day. Just talking to a person might get him through a certain situation. So please, let's continue to spread the salams. Another thing was being content. You don't know how many times people say, "Oh, do you miss turning down the contract? Don't you think about that money? You're not in the NFL. You know how hard it's going to be to get back in. What if you don't get back in?" And after you hear it so much, and you hear it so much, and you hear it so much, you start to think about it. But in the end, you remember, everything is by the decree of Allah. If Allah wanted me to sign a contract for $5 million, I would have signed a contract for $5 million. If he wanted to give it to me in another way, he'll give it to me in another way. If he doesn't want me to have it, it's probably better that I don't have it. It's that simple. Everything happens by the decree of Allah. So we have to be content with what we have, with who we're around. Don't look to this person and say, unless they're better than you in terms of Islam, in terms of righteousness. But don't look to the people on TV and say, "Oh, I want to be like that. I want to drive a car like this. I want to dress like that. I want to go party like this." For what? That's an empty lifestyle. Be content with who you are. Look at your parents as role models first. You didn't choose them. Allah put them in your household for a reason. Think about that. Be content with your surroundings. We're all constantly trying to improve ourselves and better ourselves. But Allah is my witness. When you start chasing the akhirah and start chasing the pleasure of Allah, you become content. In the dunya, it's just, you're using it as a guide to get to the hereafter. But that's another thing that Hajj taught me, just being able to be content. And through this whole process, I just want to get better. I'm an athlete, I'm a competitor. And we've always been trying to get better at football, watching film on this player, how can we get ahead this way or that way. Just always constantly trying to get better. But now the intention has shifted, the focus has shifted. I want to become better as a Muslim. I want to become better as a person. That's my drive. That's what I wake up ready to do. I read a hadith that said the person who gives salams first is the better of the two. I feel like I'm in a wild, wild west. It'd be like, Assalamu alaikum, I'm trying to be the best one. But that's my drive. So when you start to better yourself, look at what happens. We didn't plan any of this. We was going through something. We had needs we had to fulfill inside here. But how many people benefited across the world because of what we were going through? That's not something we did. I just want to become better as a person. But you can have an effect on a lot of people And you may say you don't have the same platform we have. But we live here in America. Not everybody's Muslim. And then some people who aren't Muslim, we as Muslims need pick-me-ups all the time as well. So just work on yourself as well to get better. And with that, I'll pass to Hamza. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, we always want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this beautiful gathering. Inshallah, we mention Allah's name, and inshallah, He will mention us in the gathering better than this. So inshallah, Allah makes it easy for us all. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for putting together such a wonderful event, welcoming us to your home, such tremendous hospitality. The Los Angeles-New York feud, we can call a truce for tonight, inshallah. I'd also like to thank Random Talk Beer Guy for bringing his uncle, Random Singing Talk Beer Guy. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. You always got to break, I don't want anyone to be uptight. We're your brothers. You guys are our brothers and our sisters, and we want you guys to know that we're not untouchable. We're not unapproachable. We're your brothers in Islam. We pray side by side. We don't drive Bentleys and Phantoms. We drive minivans and stuff like that. So we're normal guys, alhamdulillah. But, I'll be very brief because we do, like Hussein said, we want to get to your Q&As because that's the most important thing is the interaction. But I will start by just saying a few things. The Sheikh talked about role models and who we look to as role models. And obviously our number one role model is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and trying to follow the sunnah that he laid. And then next it goes the Sahabi and the Sahabiyat. May Allah be pleased with them all. And that's who we look to. Those are our superheroes. When we read the stories of the Sahabi and we read the Hadith, it'll make you sad, it'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh, but it'll make you be proud to be a Muslim and proud that you're learning about who are these guys and who were these guys. May Allah be pleased with them that walk foot to foot, shoulder to shoulder with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And those are the role models who we look to. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with a platform, and we understand that. But we first have to say, astaghfirullah, may Allah forgive us for our shortcomings and our mistakes. Because despite that, He continues to bless us and continues to have His grace and His mercy on us. And knowing that we don't deserve this. We didn't do anything to deserve this. But this is the platform that Allah has blessed us. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, we will try and do our best to fulfill those shoes that Allah has placed us in. I will talk about three quick things. When you talk about bettering yourself, we talk about honesty, modesty, and humility. Three very simple characteristics that every Muslim has to have. The best example of a Muslim is not someone seeing Hussein fasting on TV. Alhamdulillah, that's a beautiful example. But if I see, I'm not a Muslim, but I see Hussein Abdullah fasting during the summer months, during training camp, alhamdulillah, that's a great story for me as a non-Muslim just watching it. And I say, man, that guy's a pretty good guy. But if my neighbor is a Muslim and he talks bad to me, he never gives me the greetings. He always throws different things on my lawn. He parks in my yard. He does things that upsets me, that irritates me. You tell me who's going to have the bigger impact, Hussein Abdullah fasting or me as the neighbor. So Hussein is saying that, alhamdulillah, a lot of you guys don't have the platform that Allah has blessed us with, but work with the platform that you have. Be honest with who? Be honest with yourself first. Am I doing all that I can be? Because I'm not going to sit up here and lie to myself or lie to you as my brothers and sisters. I'm not perfect. I will not claim to be. But I try and be the best that I can be every single day. Whether that be the best father, the best husband, the best son, the best brother, whatever it is, I'll try and be the best. I try to be honest with myself. I try and be honest with the people that I'm around. I don't tell you that I can do something if I can't do it. I'll say, inshallah. I'll say, Allahu alam. I'll say, let's make dua about it. But I'm going to be honest with myself, and I'm going to be honest with you. The next thing, as a Muslim, we have to have humility. We have to have humility because Allah blessed us with that. We can't say, oh, I'm in the NFL. I did that all by myself. I did not do that all by myself. Alhamdulillah, Allah has kept me healthy long enough so that I can perform. He has nourished my body. He has allowed me to make dua. He has allowed me to have my parents there to help and guide me. He allowed my brother to be there with me. We have to be humble. We have to say Alhamdulillah. We have to say Astaghfirullah. We have to say Allahu Akbar. We have to say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Very, very, very important as Muslims. We should never, ever, ever have an ounce of arrogance. We should never, as a Muslim, be arrogant. There's no point in it. Because number one is Allah is above you. Number two is you may think, hey, I'm a rich guy. You're gonna pull up and I just got my car washed at this brand new car, and then you look to your right and it's gonna be an even bigger car. So now what are you gonna say? Are you gonna say Alhamdulillah for what Allah has blessed us with? Or am I gonna say I want that new car? We have to continue to be humble. And even as a young children, be humble. With a funny story, I had my son, Akhil, he plays basketball. He's 3 years old, and he's at practice and he's shooting baskets. And it was the first time I saw him play basketball. And I told my wife, Alhamdulillah, he's pretty good, Alhamdulillah. And he comes over to me on his water break. He says, Abu, I'm the best player on this team. And I started to laugh, but I said, Astaghfirullah. I said, oh, Allah, please forgive me. And it was a time for me to implement, fatherly advice. I said, Akhil, you have to be humble. And even if you think that, and yes, you believe that, and you always want to be the best that you can be, but you always practice and prepare like you're the last person on the team. You have to continue to get better and get better, get better. So even as a 3-year-old, he has to learn that as a Muslim, as a human being, you have to be humble. You have to. Alhamdulillah. So we talked about being honest. We talked about being humble. And the last one is modesty. We have to be modest as Muslims. Alhamdulillah, I like to work out. I like the way my body looks. I say Alhamdulillah for Allah blessing my body to be good, to be healthy, to strive in the path of Allah. But that doesn't mean I have to walk around with a sleeveless T-shirt and take pictures and put it on the internet all day. Be modest, because us not being modest, can cause a fitna for someone else. And the first thing you think of course, is obviously the sisters. But even for your brothers, we have to be modest with our brothers, because you may cause a fitna with him. If I'm worried, if I'm self-conscious about my body, and I see Hussein with a sleeveless, he's swelled up, that may be a fitna for me. So we have to continue just to be modest, inshallah. And just remember those 3 things, being humble, being modest, and being honest, and inshallah, Allah will bless us with His unlimited bounties and grace. And again, I just want to say, Jazakumullah khair, thank you very much for having us. This is truly a great gathering. And I guess the last point I would say is, remember, obviously we have a brotherhood, but remember our brothers, remember the people who are not Muslims. There are a lot of people who are not Muslims that we get a chance to talk to, we get a chance to interact. And alhamdulillah, with Hussein and I being on a few of these national networks, there's an opportunity for people to see Islam, maybe like they've never seen it. But you guys are the second wave. They see this story on Yahoo, they see this story on NBC, they see this story on ESPN. The next thing they do is they're going to go to their Muslim friend or to their neighbor. So that's an opportunity for us as Muslims to continue the dawah effort. And it's not about, as they say, being a Bible pusher, of putting a Quran and say, here, you have to read this, you have to read this. No, the best way is the way we act, the way we walk. Being humble, being modest, being honest, and our character. And inshallah, that will be the best dawah that we have. So that when they say, hey, I saw that brother Hussein on ESPN fasting, you know what? I want to fast too. Why? Because I saw him fasting? No, because I saw you fasting all those years. But that was a reminder to me, maybe a sign from God, that maybe I need to get closer to my brother, to my sister, to my neighbor. So Jazakumullah khair again. Inshallah, we will get to the most important part, the Q&A. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You guys can keep this here, inshallah, and whoever wants to answer, inshallah. Inshallah. Yeah, we gotta make sure we do that. We already won. Inshallah, brothers and sisters, before we take any questions, we're humbly requesting that we're going to pass out, Abdul Rahim Bhai and the rest of the guys, we're going to pass out index cards, inshallah. And we want you guys to please write down your questions. We're not going to take questions while raising hands. Please write down your questions, inshallah. And yes, we will screen them also. So make sure they're appropriate. Sisters, you're downstairs, inshallah. If you guys can also have questions, you can definitely send it to us as well and we can answer. Brother Zuhaib, can you get it? All right, good. So Brother Zuhaib, inshallah, he's going to be getting the questions from downstairs as well, inshallah. And we want you guys to please keep it a little quiet while writing questions so our brothers can easily and comfortably answer the questions as well, inshallah.
If you have too many questions, dinner will be late, okay? So just control that. Dinner will be late.
Should we give it a few minutes?
You start with them. Start.
Some of the silly ones is okay.
All right, cool.
It's good.
Look good, inshallah, inshallah.
Some of them.
Should we keep that one on? Yeah.
Or should you want us to screen? No, let him.
Brother Abbas, you want to come?
Where's that water?
Come here in the...
And it's like passing on, or it's like a...
Oh, how did you see it? You saw it? Oh, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Oh, we can start as they're coming. Yeah, let's start.
All right, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Please.
That's enough of the question. Let's finish us.
Brothers and sisters, inshallah, we're going to start the answering process while we are collecting the questions. Please send your questions towards the side to Brother Abdul Kareem, inshallah. And we're going to start taking the questions as well.
Assalamu alaikum.
He gave you these?
We have quite a few, so we will just get right down to it, inshallah. The first one says, recently KG, Kevin Garnett, baited Carmelo Anthony with trash talk. What advice would you give to Muslim youth on how to deal with this? You know, I have to be honest, when you get between those white lines, there's a lot of things that goes on, and one of the number one things is trash talk. Because it's a game of strategy. So you're trying to gain an advantage over your opponent. So whatever way you can gain an advantage over your opponent, you're probably going to exercise that. And even if it's something with as simple as words. But what you try to do is you try to draw a line. And there's a sportsmanship line that you don't cross. You can tell a guy he stinks and he can't shoot and things like that. But you never go personal. You never go to something that you wouldn't want said to you. You know, you never go to a person's family. You never talk about something that they're really dealing with, and everyone knows that they're struggling because there's a code of conduct that you have to go through. And as Muslim youth, we understand our code of conduct and just understand that we answer to a higher power. So remember with everything, you know, and I'm not going to sit up here and say I don't trash talk because I do. I'm a pretty big trash talker. But I'm just saying you have to know how to trash talk. And, you know, you never let it cross the line. Don't ever take it personal. Don't let it get personal. The next one is, what are your new goals as of now? Alhamdulillah, Allah bless us to go for Hajj, and we were shown a lot of things. The first one, obviously, is the test of patience. So we have to work on our patience. But the second thing was just get out and do it. You know, no more ideas. You know, if you have an idea in your head, write it down. And then after you write it down, you know, formulate it and meet with someone that can make that thing happen and make these things happen. So that's the process that we're in right now, is the application process of some of these dreams and goals and aspirations that we have. You know, to go and exercise those. Obviously, the first one would be to get back in the NFL. So what do? We work out every day, and inshallah, we will be back in the NFL. I'll answer one more, inshallah. Then I'll hand it to Hussein.
You got 2 mics.
Oh, go ahead.
You want to take turns so you can look at the next question.
Go ahead, Hussein.
Okay, I'll answer. These 3 questions are kind of the same. It says, knowing that you have a professional football career, how do you balance your duties as a Muslim and your busy sports career? Well, in everything, we keep Allah first. So as long as you keep that in mind, everything will be fine. You can still fast during the month of Ramadan. A lot goes into that, but it's still something you can do. Making your salats, making it to the masjid to make salat, trying to be involved in the community as much as you can. But you can still do both. It's demanding, but I mean, you put Allah above all else. So it's not something where it's like, because you play sports, there's no way you can be a Muslim. You can be a Muslim and play sports. This one, I like the way it's worded. I could imagine the victory celebrations / parties would get a little bit crazy involving alcohol. How do you brothers deal with this situation? Go home. And then these 2 questions tie into each other. It says, what did you like most about Hajj? And sure enough, the other one says, it's a question about our parents. And that's what I like most about Hajj, is the fact that I was with my family, I was with my brothers, and I got to take my parents. It was their first time ever leaving the country. Their first time is something that, I mean, growing up for us, in all honesty, the Kaaba was a picture on the wall. It was something that nobody we knew had went for Hajj, went to Mecca, and it was something that we didn't know if we'd ever get a chance to go. So it was really a picture on the wall. So to see the dream, like for me, I had to wait 27 years to see it. My parents are in their 50s. They had to wait a whole lot longer. So to see them see it and to see their emotion and just to see their energy level pick up and just to see everything. My dad's on dialysis. He was hurt. It was nothing that could stop him. It was like, no, you need to do this. He'd just take off. If we couldn't contain him. So just being able to be there with them was a very special feeling.
This one says, Brother Hamza, what was your aim growing up, and how difficult was it to achieve that? I guess, alhamdulillah, when I was young, I had dreams and aspirations, and one of them obviously was to become a professional football player. But one thing I did to attain that, the first thing was I made dua. I put it in the hands of Allah. So that's the first thing, put it in the hands of Allah. The second thing is I went and I took the steps that I needed to take. I went out and I worked out and I sought advice and guidance as to how do I accomplish, playing in the NFL. When I'm 12 years old, I can't go to the NFL yet. I have to play high school, so be where you're at. If you're in high school, you want to go to the NFL, play high school. And set your goals and aspirations and be as realistic as possible. I played 1 year of varsity football in high school. I didn't start in college. I didn't start until my senior year. I had an injury every single year. And alhamdulillah, Allah still blessed me to make it to the NFL. So understand that you're going to have to go through adversity, but you continue to put Allah first and Allah will make it easy for you. Inshallah. This one says, we got a few that says, were you born Muslim? And what were the difficulties after you became Muslim? Alhamdulillah, Allah made it easy for us. Our parents became Muslim when they were teenagers, so we were born Muslim. There's 12 of us in our family, and alhamdulillah, we're all Muslim. But that doesn't mean anything. We have to strive and struggle every single day to maintain that, because just because our last name is Abdullah does not make me a Muslim. It's getting up and praying to Allah 5 times a day and walking through this earth, with humility and grace and mercy, and asking Allah for His grace and mercy, and continuing to spread the salams and try and be as good a person as we can. This one says, how long did it take to make the decision to go for Hajj instead of the NFL? Subhanallah, we didn't just sit here and say, this is what we should do. It was just a cumulative effect. It was a bunch of things that happened in a row. And we were just like, this is not normal. This is not a normal off season. Some things have happened, so we have to look at it at a broader scope. And alhamdulillah, Allah just continue to press that and put it in front of us that you guys need to take a break. You guys need to go to Hajj, inshallah.
Okay, here goes. Answer a few of these. Was it cold making wudu in Minnesota? Alhamdulillah, I had hot water, so I was okay. Which QBs did I get an interception off of? I got 2 off Cutler, I got Vic, and I got Josh Freeman. I only have 4.
Everybody gets off.
It says, out of the brothers, who argues that one is better at ball, and also was the NFL the only option? We don't really argue about who's better. Hamza's always been better. I just copied what he did. That's all I did. So there's no argument. And then NFL being the only option, probably around either freshman or sophomore year in high school, we really just started gearing our focus towards football. It was a big difference at our high school. We had some good basketball players that wasn't getting no scholarships. There were some football players that was average at best, and they were getting scholarships to, smaller Division I's, but still they're getting scholarships. So we're like, for good football players, we can get our school paid for, and we can go play big-time D1 football. So that's when we switched focus. It says, which game was your best game? Really a team game. I really could care less about individual stuff if you lose. The best team game I ever played in was when we beat the Cowboys in a playoff game. Completely crushed them. It was a great feeling. Let's see. This one says, how hard did you have to work to get into the NFL? In all honesty, it started from when we first started playing football. It's we first started playing. I was about 8 years old for myself, and the love of the game grew. I started to learn that the more I did away from practice, the more I did at home, the more time I put in, the more it translated to the field, and I'd be better than other people. Then when you get to high school, you really start doing more. You start learning about watching film and studying plays. Then you get to college, and you learn even more about the game. So it's just countless hours of studying. Yes, we all know about the bigger, the stronger, the faster, and putting in all the physical work, but the mental side of the game, learning and understanding the mental side of the game. There are some people that are just athletic freaks. They are. But they can't play in the NFL because they can't get the strategy. They don't understand. So the mental side of the game, that was another thing. This is 2 questions, and then I'll pass it back to Hamza. The first one says, was there a time you really needed Allah and you received a sign? I don't know. We always think about signs as like you're walking down the street and it's a big neon thing like, I don't know if that really happens, but when you keep Allah first, you already know where you need to go. It's not, you don't need something drastic like that for that to happen. And for us, it was, we need to go to Umrah. We need to go beg for forgiveness and for guidance at his house. So that's what we did. And this other one, I've gotten this a lot, and I really don't like it. It says, have you ever thought of doing a sajda after scoring a touchdown? And the reason why I don't like it is because I think sometimes some people, I think you can go overboard. And I'm the type of person who, I don't like to say, hey, everybody, look at me, I'm here, look at me, look at what I'm doing. And if it was something that I just completely just broke down in emotion and did, then alhamdulillah. But just to do it, just to say, look what I did, that's not, I think it's doing it for the wrong reasons. So I've gotten that question a lot, and I've actually gotten lectured by somebody who's like, no, you make a play, you need to make a sajda. Like, you better make a sajda. Like, seriously. And I really don't like that, because even if I felt like doing it, I'm probably going to think of that brother like, nah, man, because now my intentions are all jacked up. and Islam is based on intentions. So that's a question that I really don't like. If it's something where you're just overcome with emotion, alhamdulillah. But if you're doing it for other reasons, I would say don't do it.
Alhamdulillah, I got a few more questions. Before I read this one, alhamdulillah, we were in the back and the sheikh, he made a dua. He said, I ask Allah to protect you from two things. He said, the first one, I ask Allah to protect you from the shaitan. He said, the second one, I ask Allah to protect you from playing with the Jets. So, this one says, when are you guys signing with the New York Giants and bringing the Vince Lombardi trophy home? You know, subhanAllah, if I would have played for the Giants since I came in the league, I'd have 2 Super Bowl rings. So, you know, you guys continue to make dua for us. Inshallah. It says, if you could pick any team to play for, who will it be and why? You know, subhanAllah, we're very simple people. You know, we just want an opportunity to compete. But we would love to play on the same team and, inshallah, hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy, which is the Super Bowl trophy. Is there an interest among NFL players in Islam? You know, there is, but the reason that there is an interest because they see Islam by the way you walk it. You know, I've had a few of my friends say, you know, Hamza, I was driving on the highway and I saw a brother on the side of the road making his salat. No, he was doing something. What was he doing? And I tell him, well, he was praying. You know, it's probably time for prayer. He had to get down. So, you know, wherever you're at, you know, alhamdulillah, may Allah make it easy for you and protect you. But, you know, just from the little things, you know, something as simple as, you know what, Hamza, I go to a store, and there's a sister who is working there, and, you know, she's, alhamdulillah, she's modest, but every time I go to pay, she asks me to put the money on the counter. And when she gives me my change, she puts it on the counter. You know, why does she do that? She doesn't like black people? Said, you know, I'm like, no, that's out of respect. You know, she doesn't want to touch another man's hands. And, you know, and they see that, and it's like, subhanAllah. Another thing, I was at a charity function for abused children, and they had a fashion show. And at the fashion show, you know, obviously it was models, and they're dressed like this and dressed like that. And a few people came over to me and to my wife, and they said, you know, we're sitting here, we're talking, and you're seeing all these, you know, they're tall, they're supposed to be gorgeous. This is what America tells us is gorgeous. And they said, the most beautiful woman in the room is your wife. And I'm like, you know, alhamdulillah. And they said, well, because she's just covered, and, you know, here, you know, there's nothing left. You know, I see everything. But there it's just beautiful, it's modest. I don't look at your wife like I look at this other lady. And so I just said, you know, alhamdulillah, that's what Islam brings. It brings a sense of security to our society. So, you know, inshallah, you know, next time someone asks you about America, say, well, we need Islam, inshallah. This one says, any trade secrets to heal an ACL quicker? No, because I tore my ACL my freshman year, 2001. It's a very tough, long, and rigorous rehab. And one thing you always think about is re-tearing it, doing it again, so you're very touchy and careful. You kind of have to get over that mental block, but at the same time, you have to take your time because, as you know, whoever this question is to, if you try and overdo it, you'll have a setback. And it's just like in life, you know, Allah teaches us patience, and I know for a fact I tore my ACL because Allah told me to be patient. He was teaching me a lesson. And, you know, now we get into a few more serious questions. This one says, what is your opinion on a Muslim dating a non-Muslim? Again, I'm no scholar, I'm no sheikh, I'm no mufti, I'm a nobody, I'm just a guy who just happens to be here. And I'm not perfect, so I would not judge anyone, that is not me. But I will say I would talk with someone that is more knowledgeable, whoever this person is, and for all of us, talk to your parents, talk to someone that's knowledgeable about dating. You know, as a Muslim community, as a Muslim society, we need to encourage marriage. You know, alhamdulillah, Allah blessed us to be married. But I can't say that, oh, I did things the right way and I did this and I did that and I was always going to be, no. Hussein got married first. If Hussein would never got married, most likely I wouldn't have got married. So he was my example. You know, lean on your brother, lean on your sister, because I guarantee you there's someone going through the exact same thing that you're going through, exact same thing, and you need someone to lean on. So I would definitely say consult your parents, consult the elders, consult the people around you, talk to your brother, confide in your sister. That's what needs to happen. And this one says, it says the older generation, our parents, have a certain mindset with culture and how they look down upon other cultures and won't let us marry from different cultures. What can we do as the Muslim youth to help change their mentality to a more Islamic and just mindset? Now, we can all sit here and pretend like this does not happen. It does. But that's not Islam. We're here as Muslims. What brought us to this house of Allah is Islam. What we do is Islam. Regardless of what we want to talk about, what we think, we're representing Islam. So if I'm at home and there's a brother, Caucasian brother, who walks up and asks me, Brother Hamza, I'd like your daughter Layla's hand in marriage. If I say no because you're Caucasian, am I being a Muslim? Probably not. Probably not. Because those aren't the rules set out by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what we need to live up to, is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The sanctity of marriage and what it really means. We don't get married to drive a new car or have a big house. That's not why we get married. We get married to satisfy and fulfill half of our Deem. Because Allah knows that helps us out a lot. It keeps us out of a lot of places that we shouldn't be. So we have to understand that. If a brother comes and asks your daughter's hand in marriage, and you're pleased with his deen and his character, you have to accept it. These are not my rules. These are not my rules. And we are Muslims. And we need to establish that. Here today, starting today, we have to get racism out of Islam. We have to. And you know, I've come across a lot of funny stories. You know, we joke, we laugh, haha. But this is a very serious issue in Islam. Very serious. Islam is so beautiful. So beautiful. We shouldn't taint it with that. And I don't need to be here to preach to anyone. But I'm just saying, as an African American in Islam, I know it exists. And we need to look to our scholars, to our sheikhs, for guidance. Because these are the ones who I look to. And they consult me. They don't consult me as the black Muslim guy. They consult me as a brother in Islam. And they want what's best for us. So from here on out, inshallah, we're going to make a commitment to each other, to ourselves, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we're going to get better. When it comes to race in Islam, do not judge a book by its cover. Because if we walked in here, no one knew. If we just walked in here on a regular day, what would be the response? You have to ask yourself that. If I didn't know those guys were the football players, would I still give him a handshake? If I saw him walking down the street with a hoodie on, what would I do? And I'm walking down the street and we're about to interact. Am I going to cross the street? Am I going to put my head down? Or am I going to look him in his eyes, and then when he reaches and says, Assalamu alaikum, am I going to return the salams? Because I'm required to return the salams when he says Assalamu alaikum, regardless of what I think of him. And I've spent a lot of time on this because it is a very serious issue. And inshallah, as Muslims, we can change that. And for the youth, for the person who asked this question, thank you very much for having the courage to write this question. It needs to be talked about. We need to talk about racism in Islam. We need to promote healthy, halal ways that we can grow as Muslims. And one of the best ways is by us getting married. So inshallah, we can promote marriage the halal way, and the sheikhs and the alims and the elders can teach us the right way. Jazakumullah khair.
Okay, I have a couple ones that should be pretty quick, and then I have some from the sister, and you can tell they're from the sisters because they're very well put together and neatly written. This one says, are you planning to join the NFL again? We are actively working out and trying to get back in. Same one. This one talks about endorsements, about haram endorsements like beer, cigarettes, etc. Just don't sign the contract. This one says, do you do MMA? I've done a couple of their workouts, but you're not going to catch me in the octagon anytime soon. Said, what age did we start to make salat? 7. And that's the age we started fasting as well. This one says, when we're on the road, what do we do while other players are partying? I guess you guys are on the road more than we are, but there's not a lot of that stuff that goes on because you have to perform the next day, and if you don't perform well, you're going to be fired from your job. And then if it does go on, just go to your room and go to sleep. This one's talking about peer pressure, same thing. Just don't put yourself in a sticky situation. Try to avoid the situation so then it's not, oh my goodness, how did I get here? No, just avoid it from the beginning. This one says, do you think you'll go to Hajj in 2013? It's up to Allah. This one says, how far along are you in converting Adrian Peterson? All we can do is convey the message. It's up to Allah to change their hearts. Okay, let's find a good one. This one asks about a team rival. I would say when we played Hamza, he was my rival. This one asks about how did it's about 4 questions, but it talks about our teammates and how did they accept us as Muslims and our spirituality. You know, there's a lot of people, you'd be surprised, even a lot of people that you guys walk around and see every day, they are very interested about Islam. Very, very interested about Islam. But we don't say nothing to them. We just walk right by them. So if we don't say nothing to them, who's going to tell them what Islam is? The media. And what happens when they watch the media? They can't stand us. So if someone comes and they ask you a question, just answer it honestly. And then if you can't do it, say, you know what? I'll get someone more knowledgeable than me, and I'll get you the answer. Or I'll take you to somewhere, or I'll give you this. But we had teammates that, you know, they'll joke around, say a couple jokes, but then they'll catch it and be like, hey, you know, what is Islam? What is this? How does this happen? How does this? It'll be during practice. Someone talked to me during the cold tub, during treatment, during game, a preseason game. Like, you're like, man, where is this coming from? But we have to be better. Not going and just yelling in everybody's faces, but we have to be able to be approachable in how we deal with people. So they really didn't mind Islam as long as you can play the game of football. But then when they're ready to ask a question, we have to be prepared to answer. This one says, how fast do I run the 40? Fast enough. Okay, these two kind of tie into each other. One says, how was your younger teenage years before you were famous? Which I don't like that term either. And has your love toward Islam grown stronger because of Allah's blessings? And this one says, how did you make the fear of Allah come to your heart? Alhamdulillah, may Allah shower His mercy and His blessings on our parents, because, you know, they were reverts to Islam. So they didn't know much, but what they knew, they laid a solid foundation within us, very solid foundation within us. Where we lived at, where we grew up at in Pomona, California, it's not the roughest area, but You got to be able to man up to walk to school every day, to walk the halls in middle school, in high school, to be able to play on the football team. There were people who transferred out simply because they couldn't take school life or they couldn't get home safely. So in that, it was, we're living, it started to be at home, we were one way. But then as soon as we got outside, we had to be a complete different, we had to be a whole nother person. And it took a while to completely just start focus on things. And how the fear of Allah crept in my heart is every single time I'd slip up. Because we all make mistakes. Nobody's here perfect. Nobody. We all make mistakes. And when something happens, I have a very loud voice in my head. And I get scared as if, like, you know, you see on the cartoon where someone looking around, they get struck by lightning or something. Like, that's going to happen to me. And then, if you get away with it right now, I start thinking about the hereafter. And you start reading the descriptions of how people are going to be punished. And you're like, I don't want that to be me. And it's just something that, you know, for me, it was kind of through experiences. Little by little, little by little. And it was just something that would just completely shake me. But there was a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error. But alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us to come full circle. This question says, how did this affect your life? It's completely changed it. It changed it in ways that I don't even know it's changed it yet. In all honesty, I don't even know the magnitude of it. I really don't. It's just something, like I said, we're still living life and being guided and still kind of blindly. We're just trying to make the best decisions possible. But alhamdulillah, I will say, as I said before, every morning we wake up, the first thing we do is not check our cell phones to see who tweeted us or who liked our pictures on Instagram or what's going on ESPN or who's saying this about what. First thing we do when we wake up is give thanks to Allah. We have another day to beg for forgiveness. Go make wudu, make your salat. I get to see my children. I get to hug my wife. Have a chance to interact with my family members. So now it's really changed our perspective on life. It really has. But I really don't even know the full magnitude of that question.
We got a lot of questions about, like Hussein said, about partying, about different things. One thing that we can do is we can help each other. Obviously you guys know the famous hadith, and our mother taught us this, and we try and live by it as much as possible. It's want for your brother what you want for yourself, and we really try to do that. And know that we all have our struggles that we struggle with. We're not perfect. But if we can confide in our brother and our sister and talk to them about these different struggles, sometimes we don't want to talk to a sheikh because, like, oh, no, I'm ashamed of this. At least talk to your brother, talk to your sister. Talk to someone that you can relate to, because those things help you out a lot. Alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me with a brother that's going through the exact same thing that I'm going through. So even if I'm having a very rough time, and I can call my brother Hussein, and when you are called upon, give that brother, give that sister your time, because that may save us from doing something that, we wouldn't want to do. So make time, make effort, and, we understand the difference between halal and haram, but sometimes it's tough, sometimes tougher than others. But if we can start having halal alternatives, we talked about the after-hour spot, where everyone is drinking, and then they're drinking some more. Well, if we had a halal alternative, if I said, they're doing that over there, well, maybe if I get my guys together and we go play basketball, or we come to my house and we play video games, or we go play cards, or whatever it is that you guys want to do, try and band together, associate yourself, your circle, your sahabi, your companions. Make sure they're people who you want to be with in Jannah, inshallah. Align yourself with people. So halal and haram, halal, we want to have halal alternatives to the haram, inshallah. This one says, which surah do you read when life gets hard? That's a very strong question. And we all have our own separate ones. It's that time, some of you guys are too young to understand that, but you know that time when you're going through something, and maybe you just open the Quran to one page, and you read an ayat or a surah, and it's like you read it for the first time, but you've read the Quran every single Ramadan, but this just speaks to your heart, speaks to your soul. When I was in Cleveland, I spent a little bit of time in Cleveland. Many people don't know that, but I was in Cleveland, and when I first got there, I was very depressed, very sad, because I was coming from beautiful Denver. We were winning 3-0. I'm like, man, we're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. And I got released, and I went to the Browns. They were awful. Oh, Allah. It was like Allah sent punishment on them or something. It was just awful. But I was so depressed. I was so sad. And my mom kept telling me, did you find the masjid? Did you find the mosque? And I'm like, no, I didn't find the mosque. Like, I just got here. I don't really want to go too far. This is Cleveland. Like, this is rough, man. I don't want to leave the hotel. But she said, find the mosque. And this happened for a few days. And then I put it in Google, and I'm driving around. I don't see any mosque. I'm going exactly where they tell me. And then my wife had got me a CD, and it was called Calls of the Mosque. And, I popped it in my CD player. I was about to say tape deck. That's bad. Man. But I popped in my CD player, and I'm just listening. I'm like, man, whoever this sheikh is reciting. Man, this is, wow, let me roll these windows down. This is all right. So I'm just driving, just minding my own business, trying to find the mosque. And it was the end of one surah and the beginning of another. And as soon as the surah started, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Yasin. And as I heard it, my heart dropped. I looked to my left, and it was the biggest masjid I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, I was driving past this same street all those other days and never saw it. But at that moment, I looked to my left. I heard Yasin, and my heart dropped. And I looked to my left, and I said, wow, there's the masjid. It was so beautiful, too. And after that, I said, let me go read this surah. Let me find something out about this surah. And, just doing some research and study, and then I found out that it was, and one of the titles is The Heart of the Quran. And, ever since till this day, when I hear Surah Yasin, it makes me shiver. And it reminds me of, the power of Allah, the will of Allah. And, when times get hard for me is, I like to read, recite, and listen to Surah Yasin. And the sheikh was Sheikh Abdurrahman Sudais. And he recites Quran it touches your heart. Alhamdulillah. And, may Allah reward the brother and the sheikh. I'm sorry for that story. But this one says, my brothers and I have a football team called Slave of Allah. We play in Harlem, 128th Street on 3rd Avenue. Can we play? Our schedule is very, very tight. Unfortunately, we have to go to D.C. in the morning. I would love to get a pickup game of ball, but not this time. Inshallah, maybe another time when we return. Maybe we can get together. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and let us know. And then this one, then I'll pass it to Hussein. This one's another serious one. We face prejudices in our daily life for being Muslims, especially since 9/11. It's great to have role models like you, astaghfirullah, like Hakeem Olajuwon once was in the NBA. Do you encounter issues just for being Muslims? And then how do you handle it? You guys are the toughest Muslims in America. I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys are at the heart of it. But you have to understand this. Allah placed you here for a reason. You are here, you're on the front lines, as they call it in the battlefield. You're in the front lines. So me in sunny Southern California with the Hollywood signs and palm trees, no, you guys are in the battlefield. You guys are representing Islam every single day, every single day, every single day. And do we face prejudices as Muslims? People judge us. Yes, they do. But as Muslims, do we turn around and return that favor and judge them? Nope. We say salams, peace, because that's what we're about. We're about peace. But that goes back to the fact of wanting for your brother, wanting for yourself, and surrounding yourself with good people and having brothers. So that's the beauty of it, is when you roll deep, people don't mess with you. So find that brother, find those sisters that are going through the same things, those sisters that are struggling. Should I take the hijab off? Should I wear the hijab? These are talks that we need to talk to our children and to our youth about, because it's happening right now. We get emails, we get letters, we get messages all the time about sisters struggling with this, struggling with that, about young brothers struggling with this, struggling with that. And we have to be good brothers. We have to be good sisters. And we have to come to our brothers and our sisters' aid and understand that this is the stuff that is going on. So the next time you see your brother and you say, Assalamu alaikum, kayfa halak, how are you doing? Yes, we say Alhamdulillah, but really mean it. Really look into his eyes. How are you doing? Hamza, you look like you haven't slept in a week. Are you okay? You look like you haven't ate in a week. Are you okay? Come over, let's talk. Let me fill your belly up, let's talk. Spend that time with your Muslim brother. We were talking about it earlier. New York is a tough town. It's tough. It's rough. Everyone's on the move. Everyone's busy. And some people are too busy for Allah. But us, we are representatives of Allah by the way we walk, by the way we talk. We're Muslims. So you may be the only interaction someone has with God their entire day. The only interaction. So when someone bumps you, someone does this, does that, give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're having a tough day because we're Muslims. And when I'm speaking to you guys, I'm really speaking to myself. I'm trying to remind myself and asking Allah to make it easy for me. And to remember that, I see someone's shortcomings. They're more obvious, but I also have shortcomings. And I need to ask Allah for forgiveness. So again, let's speak to our brothers and speak to our sisters and confide in each other, inshallah, and be that shoulder to lean on, and our brothers and our sisters. When you guys have things going on, the youth, talk to each other. Talk to your parents before it escalates. You guys are right near the shooting of the elementary school. These are sad things. These are sad things. But let us not forget. Let us not forget. There may be brothers and sisters who have those same things built up inside. No one loves me. No one hugs me. No one has told me they love me. In our culture, just in our makeup as human beings, we're lonely. We're lonely creatures. We're easily depressed. Easily depressed. We need companionship. That's why we look to our role model, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Who did he have? He had companions. He had companionship. We need to take from that. We need companions, good companions. Lean on each other. Pick each other up. If I'm down, you guys hit me up and say, hey, brother, stand up. Walk tall. I love you for the sake of Allah. Do that for me, please. And inshallah, we will return. Assalamu alaikum.
I have two more. I'll try to make them quick. We took our father with us, and he was on dialysis. And someone is asking, they're saying their father has diabetes and other medical conditions, and they want to take him for Hajj, so they want to access our experience. And it was a very rough experience. It was a very rough experience. And it started before we even reached Saudi. When we were on the plane, he had a shortness of breath. And we didn't know what was going on. Like the last 2 hours of the flight, we flew from DC directly to Jeddah. And the last 2 hours of the flight, he was hot. He couldn't breathe. I mean, soon as we landed, the ambulance had to take him. We thought that was going to be the easiest part, just getting there. As soon as we got there, the ambulance had to take him, and from then on, it was going to this hospital, going to that hospital, trying to make it to this dialysis, trying to make it to that one. Kind of no sleep. It was kind of around the clock. We had to watch him. He couldn't walk as much as he wanted to. He wanted to go and do extra tawaf and do extra umrah. We're like, hey, you got to chill. We got we got to save you for Hajj. Like, you want to do too much. But you know, just to get the proper medical attention over there, it was tough. And because there's a lot of people, everybody's trying to be seen. They give everybody the same time. I think it's 11 o'clock. And it's very rough, but alhamdulillah, he came out okay. But I will say, try to prepare as much as you can, because it was very difficult, and it took him a couple weeks, if not month and a half or longer, to actually recover. He lost a lot of weight. I want to say almost 20 pounds. Like, he lost a lot of weight. So it's very, very difficult for someone to go with the condition, and that's why if you're sick, it's not required for you to go. And I understand the excitement, but try to prepare as much as you can. And this last one says, what is the advice you would give to young brothers and sisters who are eager to help volunteer for the community or charity? You know, if you really want to be a part of something, I would say go for it. To anybody involved, to the older generation that's involved, I would ask not to scare them away, because when you're young and you want to do something, and someone tells you no, and someone tells you no, and someone tells you no, and it's something that you really have your heart set on, that can crush you. And we do not want to do that, especially when someone is so impressionable. And we don't want them to go to the alternative, because if they can't come in here, or if they can't be accepted amongst their own, who are they going to turn to? And I'm speaking from experience, because that happened to me, and it was rough. Like I said, coming back full circle, it was rough. So please don't turn people away, even from youth to youth. Don't turn each other away. Don't pick on one another. Don't talk down on one another. We should always be trying to uplift each other, always. So I would say, if you're really eager about doing something, as long as you have the right intentions, it's a good charity event, or it is something for the community, I would say go after it. But please, work together and get all the other stuff out of it. But don't take any more of your time. Jazakallah khair for bringing us out, and thank you for being patient with us and listening to us. Assalamu alaikum.
Guys, we're still not done. Few more things. Okay, guys, as we had mentioned this in the beginning, alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward our brothers for coming. Thank you so much, brothers, the boss as well, mashallah, for bringing, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, the meet and the greet for the brothers that you can personally meet, speak to them, inshallah. A lot of kids have their footballs, they have their pens ready. Please do not rush into this right now. We are humbly requesting, as the brothers were saying, we love each other for the sake of Allah. Let's keep the respect and honor of the house of Allah as it is. We're going to set up the place for you, inshallah, in this corner right there, right next to that fan. So we are humbly requesting you let the brothers go, inshallah. Don't grab them at this. So the brothers can empty out that corner where the chairs are. Please let them easily and comfortably go, and you'll be able to meet them, inshallah. The food is outside, which is going to be served. Please sign on to the iPads which are present there for your free ticket to Umrah. Make sure you sign in before you leave, inshallah. Jazakallah.